Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
There we go. Hello, my beautiful people. your ears out. I still didn't like the volume from yesterday. I just didn't like the volume. Hopefully, I'm going to keep increasing the volume until I make sure that I'm screaming at you. We can't have a Bullhorn Betty show without me sounding like I am blowing your blessed eardrums off, and I just don't feel like I'm doing that lately. I'm screaming, I'm losing my voice, but I'm not, it's not equating too loud. I need to be loud, okay? Am I loud? If I'm not if you don't have to turn down the volume, I'm not loud enough, okay, folks? I'm not loud enough. If you can just hear me, I'm not loud enough. I speak very, very, very loud. I want people to think I'm screaming because we got people that can't hear. And we don't want to leave them out. You know, you guys can adjust your volume. They can't. So we need to be the loudest channel on YouTube. We have a reputation to uphold. Many of you guys know we've been covering the case of Emmanuel Haro. I think it's Haro. I'm starting to hear them saying Haro. I've heard it both ways. Names are just hard. You know, you can look at it. You can apply phonics because according to phonics, H-A with an R and then an O would make the A along A. Haro, according to our phonics here in the United States, but I'm hearing people call it Haro. So, again, I don't want to be, you know, the details, the pronunciations, those will work themselves out throughout time, especially once they start getting to court and, you know, the attorneys start saying their names. We'll definitely know what their names are. But I think it's Haro. I'm going to be referring to him as Haro because everybody else is. If it turns out to be Haro, let's not get lost into minor details of pronunciations. The bottom line is we're here for a 7-month-old child, okay? A child that is truly innocent, that has no ability to take care of themselves without the help of an adult. They cannot feed themselves. They cannot use the bathroom by themselves. They can't walk. They can barely move, okay? They're very, very delicate, precious gifts that God gives us to take care of. And all too often, we find parents that don't appreciate the gift that they have. And we end up having conversations like we're having right now, where we're discussing pretty much the death of a 7-month-old child. We're talking as if this child is deceased is because most likely this child is deceased. The statements from the parents, we all know what your feelings are. We were here when we watched the interview together, and I can tell you I had some pretty irate people in my chat saying, no, these parents aren't being truthful. That black eye is not fresh. They were already literally, now these are just emotions and just listening to it. We all take the parents' story as true, unless it's so bizarre, you know, that it just defies logic. And I think that this is one of those situations where we have a story that just on its face, when it was spoken originally, defied logic. Because by the time we heard the story, we already knew two things. By the time the parents had come out, we already knew that there were no witnesses to this brutal attack. I mean, let's face it, she described a brutal attack. So that was one, and we had already heard that they were having a hard time picking up any scent. So I think that subconsciously, we kind of had these things in the back of our minds before we actually heard from the parents, and maybe that's why we didn't, think that they were being truthful. I went back and tried to analyze myself, which is hard to do after the fact. I will tell you, it's hard to do. So the chances of you actually coming up with the real situation or the real thing is probably not it's hard to accomplish. But I did try to go back and analyze myself and analyze what it was that first made me feel that the story was inaccurate. And to be honest with you, it was the mother. And it was when she gave the interview and she said, "I saw white." Aw, thank you. Can you guys hear the ding? I hopefully you guys can hear the super chat ding, but I need to know whether you guys heard a very subtle ding or not, because I noticed that even when I adjusted it, it didn't seem like it dinged. It's dinging in my ear, but I'm not hearing it dinging out there when I do the replay. So if you're not hearing the ding, let me know. I'll try to adjust it. I've got it down to 9, so it may be down so low you can't hear. It might be the issue. Serenity, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So Serenity says, it kind of cut off the, let me see if I can open this up just a little bit. Maybe, did it get it all? No, it put it down too far. Okay, well, let me see if I can get this. Yeah, we're going to have to keep it there. I'll read it. I'll read what it says. So she says, I think he did something and convinced her that she would be held responsible if she says anything. No excuse, though, for her keeping quiet. I do believe that. That's typically the mechanism that these abusers do use, in my opinion. They use the fear factor. That's what they have on their side, is this fear factor. Let me see if I can move this up. I don't think I can. I think it's just cut it off. Yeah, it's just cut it off. Okay, so, but I do believe that, Serenity, because this is not our first, like I said, many of our many of our audience members have experienced domestic violence in their life, or somebody else close to them. This is not uncommon for our this is not uncommon for our purposes. It's sad to say that, but we hear about these type of abuses, about the intimidation, the fear factor that sets in. And in all fairness, if we truly do believe that she is abused, and we truly do believe that there is a possibility of this intimidation, it may have her very fearful. I mean, this guy, she would have watched this guy take her child's life, right? Delilah, give me just a second. Give me just a second. She's a little fussy. She wants some attention. Come. Yeah, there you go. Say hi to everybody. Oh, thank you for the kisses. Thank you. I'm certain nobody's breaking in the house, okay? I'm certain nobody's breaking in the house. Certainly we can be a little more quiet than that when I'm live, huh? Looks like you've been biting I can feel you got wet on your tail. Have you been chewing on your back end? Huh? We just gave you a bath yesterday. Yes, we did. Okay, go play. Let's try to keep our inside voice. Let's try to have our inside voice. All right, Delilah wanted to say hi to everybody this morning. But yeah, I do agree. So I put kind of this diagram because we're finding out some new information about the story related to Emmanuel. I don't believe he was ever at that game. I said that long before we even knew really anything. It just, when you're dealing with a hoax and something like this, and the parents are being uncooperative, you kind of start gauging, you start going back to some of your older stories and seeing, and like we said, we've had experiences with a woman that was, taking a cart around and acting like the baby was in the cart, and then going and reporting that baby as being missing or whatever the case may be, and then come to find out the child was never with her to begin with. And I still think that that's going to be kind of the similar situation we're dealing with here. We're getting more new information in. Apparently, one of the content creators got their hands on, now I have not seen the video, but I don't see where this content creator has any reason to be deceptive. He's boots on the ground. He has access to people. He has access to information. We all know that to be true because we've been boots on the ground before. And we know that the information that's acquired by boots on the ground is much more confirmed and actual and factual than what I can, obtain over here in Florida from California, okay? It just really is the name of the game. So I believe that this guy is telling the truth and not fabricating anything. Because if you're watching, and this is that Ahmed guy, if you're watching everything, he's taking you he's showing the receipts. He's showing his receipts. So that's what I like. I have all faith that what he's saying is truthful. Now, there are always, even with the being boots on the ground, there's always opportunities for misunderstandings and things like that. But I don't anticipate that being the case when he's acquired the video and says, I've viewed the video. Nobody's going to tell you they viewed a video that they did not view. Just my opinion. I don't see why he would have this great reputation showing everybody being a good journalist out there in the field, and then turning around and bamboozling us with information that didn't. You see what I'm saying? I'm applying a little common sense here. So that Ahmed guy, I really appreciate his work. I think a lot of content creators in the true crime community are appreciating his work, being boots on the ground and taking us for a walk. So I do recommend you guys going over and checking him out. I believe he's on Facebook. I originally thought he was a TikToker, but it appears that all of his stuff is being posted on Facebook. So if you guys haven't had an opportunity to go see the work he's doing, I definitely recommend you doing so. This is not what our conversation is really going to be about. We have some new information related to Emmanuel's case. This is information that is not good. I repeat, is not good. Thank you, Pebbles. Good morning, Pebbles, by the way. Pebbles is dropping the link. If you guys have not been over to the membership link and you would like to support the Bullhorn Betty channel, we do a lot of great work here. When we have an opportunity, we are boots on the ground. We actually do search efforts in a number of cases. We could go through those. I mean, Idaho 4, Summer Wells, Gabby Petito, just a number of boots on the ground cases that we cover. But if the super chats and super stickers, you don't always do those, but you would still like to contribute and help out this channel, you can do that by just being a member to this channel. And that's just a monthly contribution that will really help keep our channel growing and going. So, and then of course, just one-time things, gifts or tips, there you go for those as well. So I appreciate, thank you, Pebbles. Thank you. I appreciate that. We're kind of honing in on a lot of stuff. First of all, I think the biggest key and critical factor here is what my audience said. Congratulations. Let's give you all a round of applause. We're giving you all a round of applause because when we were talking, what were we talking about? We were talking about another case. I can't remember what case. Maybe it was the Idaho 4, maybe it was something else, but we were talking about a completely different case. And somebody came into our chat and said, hey, did you hear about this 7-month-old baby that's been abducted? And I'm like, oh, that takes precedent, right? So we stop whatever conversation we were talking about here on the show and decide to start looking in on this, all hands on deck case, 7-month-old child abducted. We stopped shows for that. And we started bringing it up. And one of the first things we saw was, okay, well, we got the parents. Let's listen to what happened. And immediately our audience said, whoa. No. This isn't right. I think one of the first things that the audience brought up was the bruise around her eye. Somebody in this audience, few people, as a matter of fact, in this audience, said, there's no way that just happened. And they were adamant about that. Absolutely 100% adamant that this is several days old and in the healing process. So that's why I'm congratulating you, because you guys that stood up and said, hey, something ain't right here. This bruise, what she's saying is not right because that bruise could not possibly have happened. I even said maybe 1 or 2 days old. And they said, nope. No, this is more than 2 days old. This is probably 3 to 5 days old at minimum. So we found out through Justin For All that these bruises appear to be there even longer. And then we had Ahmed out there. And if I hope I'm not mispronouncing his name. I'm going off. I remember it was like whatever, but hopefully I'm not mispronunciating his name because I like to say their names correctly. And then he comes out and he puts his hands on videotape evidence that proves that she had a black eye, sporting a black eye, much worse than what it's observed here on August 3rd, 2025. Now, one of our theories, no, I should say one of my theories, because I don't think it's collective throughout our whole entire channel, but one of my theories is that when she got that black eye is most likely when the baby was injured. That is my opinion. That is my theory, because it all makes sense. She's commingled that black eye in association with something bad that happened to her son. Now, she's trying to say that it is associated with an abduction in an unknown person, but we know now that that's not true. We know now that law enforcement has them as the prime suspects in the disappearance of their child right now. And there's people saying that they didn't dig up now, I don't think that they're digging up the property or have dug up the property with excavation equipment. The way that the news broadcaster explained is that they had dogs out there and that they were digging in area. I don't know if people would see the if they're using shovels or something like that. I don't know if they would see them working on there, but we do have a local news. Now, I don't know if those diggings are still going on or if they were just one isolated dig or if they're planning on doing more digging. But we do have it from a local news reporter that they had cadaver dogs out there and had isolated digs, I believe. Let me see if I can find that. And we'll listen to the whole news broadcast in its entirety. Is this it? No, this is not it. This is another one. I know I recorded it and I didn't delete it, so let me just keep going here. Is it this one?
One ran off with him.
Yeah, here it is.
And we have learned tonight that the baby's father does have a criminal record, and the grandmother told us that investigators were out at the couple's home in Cabazon, searching the home with cadaver dogs and also digging up parts of the property. We tried to reach out to San Bernardino County investigators for any information on that, but they aren't taking any more questions.
So you guys got to hear that for yourself. That was a local news broadcaster saying they're digging up portions of the property. We don't know what portions of the property they were digging up, and we don't know where those efforts were. And those were days ago. That doesn't necessarily mean that this was going to be an effort that went on for several days. And I do trust that they are not digging on the property right at the moment, because Matt Thibodeau he has a friend or somebody he connected with out there in that area and sent them to the property to see if there was this law enforcement event. And this is another person that I don't have any reason to see ever manufacturing or making up any type of information directly related to this case. He has no reason to. We've learned to love Matt because of his fearless, factual-based reporting. You know, he stands up for the reports that he puts out there. He puts a lot of time and research into them, much like many of us that take this job very seriously and want real information being out there for the public. Thank you. Yes, we all love Matt. He's a good. I see a lot of goodness coming out of him in the future, and we, as me that loves to inspire and loves to advocate for people that do the right thing, I will always have good things to say about Matt, and until he changes, and I don't see the man changing anytime soon. He's just like the rest of us that wants this we want the truth. You know, that's what we're fighting for. The truth. The unapologetic truth. Not the sugar-coated crap our government wants us to hear, but what we're entitled and allowed to be knowledgeable of. We are here for the truth. So Matt says that, I think it was a yesterday video that he posted, and he says, I don't know where this is coming out. Well, I just showed you where the report came from. It came from a local news person, and it came days ago. I don't know what part that they dug up, but I'd have to think that somebody that's in mainstream media wouldn't make a critical error like that. She appeared to be out there. She had appeared to be boots on the ground in an observatory manner and reporting the information back. So at some point, I have to believe that a shovel hit some type of dirt. Okay? Whether that continued or not, that's one thing, but I do believe that there were some type of digging efforts specifically on their property because of that reporting. Oh, thank you, Melanie. Melanie donated a $5 super chat. Thank you. Let me see if I can pull this down just a little bit. I wish it'd let me pull it down. I'd like to get it all in, but it's not going to let me. It's not going to let me. I wish it would, but it was not going to let me. It's not going to let me. See if I can go down a little bit. Can I go down? No, it's just not going to. Some of these longer ones, it just won't. Maybe one day I'll find a solution to it, but until then, we'll make it do with what we can. Hold on, let me get this. The chat box is starting to go up a little bit. Let me move this. There we go. A little bit better, but not much. Not much. There we go. Get that out of there. Okay. So, Melanie says, good morning. If I can get my says, good morning. Let me put this up there. Good morning. Betty, Delilah, Mod, and Chad. I hope everyone is doing well. Hoping all the children that are missing get found. We all do. It's just awful. And Lisa always saying, here for the truth and facts. Thank you, my love. Thank you, my love. I appreciate that. So, unfortunately, there are several details that have now reared their ugly head. Now, we knew that the mom had lawyered up. We knew that she lawyered up when being challenged on the inconsistencies. We knew... I just saw Spicy Disaster. I just saw Lisa. Oh, that's cute. Hold on here. My mouse just went out, so give me just a second. Let me get to my Bluetooth settings and fix my mouse real quick. I don't know why my mouse just dropped off, but it did. So let me forget this. Forget device. It does this from time to time. I don't know why. Maybe because of all the crap that I'm always playing on this. There we go. All this crap I'm playing. There we go. Let's connect the mouse again. Okay, we should be back in business in just a second. Sorry. But I saw Spicy Disasters, Pebbles telling Spicy Disaster good morning. And I have my Spicy Disaster right behind me chewing on a water bottle. That's why I paused for a second, because I figured I'd let her chew on her water bottle just a little bit before, And then I realized my mouse went down. I'm so sorry. I heard that she has brain damage from being harmed by him. Yes, we're hearing a lot of that, Rod. I've got here. I'll read the text that I found. This is from one of the coworkers. I'm not sure. I think I was starting a video last night and forgot to finish it up. But let me read this to you. This is from a coworker to Jake. They blurred out her name. I do have the copy that has her that's nice and clear, that has her name, but in this particular case, we're going to try to keep as much anonymity to some of the people leaking, because I feel like there's a lot of people here that are abusive to people that come forward and tell their stories. So we're gonna work on trying to keep more people anonymous on these platforms, so we can keep the hate channels out of their life. And this is for their protection, as well as ours, right? And the safety of continuing to get content and information and details about these cases. So this is an anonymous person that worked with Jake. And she says, used to work with Jake at Walmart, but he should be the prime suspect in all this. I'm not going to go into details, but his previous relationship didn't end so well. He's crazy. He beat one of his kids so bad it caused severe brain damage, and the child was not the same. Just let's be real here. Jake should be #1 suspect. So a lot of people are speaking out about this. Now, here is the bombshell information and what we are going to be focusing our conversations on this morning. And it says, missing Emmanuel Haro. A local reporter has stated that she received inside information from someone close to the Yucaipa Police Department. This insider stated that Rebecca and Jake Haro had cameras surrounding their property. When police went to go collect the footage from the cameras, the footage has been deleted. These types of cameras store their footage in a cloud, which means that you have to physically go into the cloud and delete the footage. That's not suspicious at all. Oh, thank you, Peggy. Peggy's been part of the family for a really long time, but it is official. Welcome, Peggy, to this crazy fam we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straitjacket in your padded room and welcome aboard. I'm going to mute myself. I want to see how loud I am on my phone so I can start adjusting my volume. We're going to have to play with the volumes because I'm about to show a video and I want to make sure that you guys can hear not only me, but everything else. So give me just a second. I'm going to mute myself and then I'll let you know when I'm back. Well, I guess I could talk to you until I get it pulled up. Let's see. Bullhorn Buddy. There I am. All right. It looks like I'm pulling up now. So give me just a second. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that works for me. That works for me. It sounds like the volume is absolutely perfect. So I love that. I love that for us. All right, guys. So we're going to turn this over to Pascal. Pascal, I'm going to drop his link. We're only going to take the first few seconds because it's perfect. If you guys are not a fan of Pascal or never heard of Pascal, please go over there. He's great. He's great. And not only that, he's very, very, very lively. Just love his content. I don't know what else to say other than I love his content. I love how he's just on. Oh, do we have the E's up in here? Oh, Mr. and Mrs. E, it's nice to see you, love bugs. I hope you guys are doing well. What a horrible story. What a horrible story. Out of Yucaipa, California. This, I think I think the true crime community should be very pleased with their analysis of this case from the very beginning. You guys have been spot on. You know, the information we've been finding has been spot on. This is real. This is real good. And I'm very, yeah, real talk. That's it, VA. That's exactly it, the real talk. But let's turn it over to Pascal. Let me know. I think everything should be working fine this morning. I made sure that I went through here and got all the volumes and sounds and everything up to date. So
They deleted what?
okay. They deleted what? That wasn't where I was going to go. Hold on. Let's get past his little intro. I love his intro too, by the way. Pascal, you did good on the intro. What can I say? Okay, let's get back to it.
Allegedly deleted security camera footage. Yes, you heard me correct. Apparently, there's some information out here saying that police went back. Of course, we already know they've been looking for this young 7-month-old baby boy.
They have been doing their due diligence. They have been searching high and low throughout the entire house, the back of the house, etc. Now, I know there's been a lot of rumors saying that they've been digging the backyard, but they haven't done any digging that we know of as of yet. But they
Again, I personally don't know whether the digging has they did, or maybe they had an isolated spot. But the report that we received from mainstream media out there is that they were digging. We have no idea whether they actually dug. I know that Matt, again, has sent people out there, and right now there is no digging or other search gathering. From everything I can hear, it doesn't sound like even law enforcement is on there. Knuckin' fucks? What? That's great. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. Welcome to this crazy family called the Coffee Club. The things that we see pop up. The things that we see pop up. But how odd is it? Now we're learning that the cameras, not only did they have, first of all, who needs that many cameras around their house? Because I feel, we started hinting on that yesterday. I feel like there's more here. I feel like because of this guy, he's violent. We learned on Justin Farall's channel that, hey, Pete, it's nice to see you, love. Don't forget the phone link membership. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. It's nice to see you guys. Thank you for being here. But we found out that they physically had to log into an iCloud and delete the images. Now, here's what I have a problem with, is that we learned from another case or another subject matter, I can't recall which, that it's really hard with the cloud services, because from what we understand with these cloud services, once you delete that video, they don't have an ability to recover that forensically. Now, I don't know how true that is. I don't know if they've changed that or they've made, updates, because things happen without us knowing about it all the time. How long ago was it that they were unable to go back and, find these cloud stuff? Do they have new technology that helps them kind of look at the print behind the cloud like they do on our computers? Does it leave some type of receipt of the, but they're saying it shows the receipt of the deletion. That's not good enough, because overkill on the camera is sus. That is exactly it, Crystal Pistol. And we're having those problems right now because there's so many things that tie back to other cases. And when I hear this, you know what I'm first thinking, right? Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. That's typically what I'm thinking when I think of these cameras, because we had another situation where it was very... We still don't know whether there was any cameras around the house, and we're still saying the probability of a woman working for Brink's security system and not having any type of Brink's home security system in her own home just doesn't, it seems like it defies logic. Most people, if they work for a company, they use all of the employee benefits that they can muster, including, especially if they work for a I remember my mother, it seemed like every time us kids... I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. I love you, Mom. So it seemed like every time us kids needed something like major, or we were getting to that age, it seemed like my mom always got a job where we needed services, okay? My mom was from the medical field, for many, many years. So I just found it a little ironic that when both of us girls needed braces, she worked for an orthodontist. When we needed our wisdom teeth taken out, my mom worked for an orthopedic surgeon. Those types of things. Like, it just defies logic for me that somebody would be working at a company and not utilize every, employee benefit that you could. Thank you, Pebbles. Reminding us to sign the petition. There's a link for the change.org petition. Great segue. Thank you, Pebbles, for keeping that up to date. We still need a lot of signatures on this. I know that there are other people out there advocating for Sebastian and putting out other change.orgs. And while it is appreciative, it's splitting up the signatures, and that's not good. We need to have one place for all the signatures, and I think the most appropriate place would be the one that Seth set up. Seth being the dad of the missing child, the only advocate, the only familial advocate to this child, because I shouldn't say the only, there is extended family avocation going on for Sebastian, but for the most part, he is the only family member that has been actively looking for his son. Many people don't understand how costly it is to have a missing child. And people knock parents for stopping work and asking the public for help financially so they can take time to look for their child. And I'm so sick of that stigma across these things. It costs money for these parents. These parents cannot rely on third parties for their entire... Look how long Sebastian has been missing. Sebastian has been missing almost 2 years. Not quite. We're speeding it along by several months, but we're getting very, very close and have no indication of where he is or if he's coming home anytime soon. How can a parent literally be working when they're going through something like that? I would like to know. I would like to know. It costs money. I have watched Jennifer Santinello go through her highs and lows advocating for her adult daughter and having to stop her entire life to focus on finding her daughter, because that's what we expect from parents, no? We expect good parents to stop their life for their children when their children are missing. And shame on the people that condemn them for doing that, because who else is going to do that? We know it's not going to be them. We've never seen a hate channel in their life ever go out and actually get into the woods or search for a missing person. We've never seen a hate channel hold a parent of a deceased child in their arms. I have. Many of them. I have stayed up at night talking on the phones with many parents that are literally at their wits' end with law enforcement, with the search, with not knowing where their child is. It costs money. And shame on anybody that criticizes a parent for stopping their life for their child. Because the people that punish parents for doing that are probably the scumbags that would never do that for their own children. And it's sad. It's sad. So let's get back on to Emmanuel Haro. I got to try to correct myself because, again, I've been saying it improperly for a little while, I think. But Hooked on Phonics tells me it's a long A, and now we're saying it's a short A. So Haro, we'll be using Haro since everybody else is using Haro.
They are looking, and cadaver dogs were indeed walking throughout the backyard and inside that home that Emmanuel Haro used to live in. But now we're starting to hear more information that's really, really crazy. So they say that there are security cameras all throughout the property of Jake and Rebecca's home, the parents of Emmanuel Haro. Now we're understanding that police went back to go get the security cam footage so that they can go through the stuff just to see on the day of his disappearance, at least when they reported him missing, that they could see what actually happened. Maybe
they're looking for proof of life. That's my opinion. They need these films to find out when the last time this child was seen. Where is Otto coming from? Who's Otto? I think he meant Haro. I think it just came out Otto. Because I heard that too. No, I think because sometimes I said, what did I say? Yucaipa in one of my videos, and I guess that I was saying it low when I said Yucaipa, and it just came out Kaipa, and I said Yucaipa, so I think it might be Haro, and it just sounded like Otto. But maybe he might have sometimes when you're live, things kind of sneak out. I was calling Rebecca, and then on 2 videos I called her Rachel. So I mean, it does just happen. So I think he met Haro.
There's some footage of something sinister, right? They go back, and allegedly the footage was deleted.
So the footage, as you know, now was deleted. Now, this is another person. This is True Crime with Strategic Eyes. Really like his content. Some other people in our chat like his content and have been paying attention to him because he's coming here to my channel. And there is a specific a spot in here, and it's at 126, 126.25. But let me go and tell you what we're looking at. I had to take that off so I could read. And it says the original. Okay, make sure it's off. I don't want to dox anybody. The original charge against Jake are read in this YouTube video. And this person says it makes me mad as hell. So we already know some of the charges against him. We also learned some charges on Justin's channel we were unfamiliar with. So 10 weeks old. Do you guys understand that? The first child was only 10 weeks old. Did you guys hear that? I didn't even have it up. Hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Let me go back. No sound. Because I didn't realize I did not. What time? Hold on a second. 26:05. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. I didn't have it up.
To that other kid. So we'll read that, and then we'll get out of here. This lawyer thing, I don't know if this is the attorney. I'd see a Tesla going in there. How do we know that that's the attorney? You know what I mean? But it is what it is. You guys can find this stuff on your own. It's all good. What I want to do is I want to read this article. Okay, so according to an affidavit written by a Hemet police officer to obtain an arrest warrant, officers investigated a report that a 10-week-old girl, 10-week-old girl, come on, Strategic. You know I'm tired. I've been streaming for what, 2 hours now? Or an hour and 26 minutes. Officers investigated a report that a 10-week-old girl had been admitted to a Hemet Valley hospital on October.
That is highly disturbing. Highly disturbing. Hey, Narita, it's nice to see you. That is hard. Did you guys get an opportunity to hear the fact that this was a 10-week-old girl? A 10-week-old girl? So it shows me this man has no appetite for crying children. This man has an explosive behavior against children, babies. Okay? Babies. These are babies that are being harmed by him. And what do we have? We have another baby, 7 months old, not 10 weeks old. I guess he decided to keep his hands off the weeks-old children and thought maybe he was okay abusing a months-old child. I don't understand how our justice system didn't lock this man up for a really long time. A 10-week-old baby? A grown man hurting a 10-week-old baby and he gets 180 days? He should have never been out. Another one that should have never been out. If the law enforcement and the court system followed their own laws, this man would have still been locked up. And as horrible as this sounds, that child would have never been able to be conceived, let alone killed, had this person been in jail where he belonged for ruining another baby's life. Not only did he not just ruin Emmanuel's, he took Emmanuel out. I guess no victims, No charges. Escalation. I think California judges are getting wiser. I mean, I can't imagine that, especially for the female judges that do this, and this comes before them, I can't imagine they are proud of themselves. You know, and they can't lean on and say, well, it was just following the law. No, you gave them the minimum requirements of that law. Where was the protection of the victims and the children? The victims and the children have to be paramount to the criminals. It has to be. This is just getting disturbed. I mean, really, really disturbed. So let's keep going and seeing what we're finding out.
October 13th, 2018 for treatment of broken bones.
Broken bones.
10
weeks old.
Vanessa Haro.
10 weeks old. 10 weeks old. Broken bones. And a judge gives this man 180 days. That's unconscionable. That is unconscionable.
Haro, also known as Vanessa Avina, according to the document, told officers that she had picked up Jake Haro from work and dropped him off at home on October 12th before driving to Beaumont to pick up her eldest daughter from school. She returned about an hour later and tried to nurse the infant, but she would not drink. Vanessa took the baby to a hospital. Jake Haro.
So she didn't even know this child was even hurt. She had no clue that this child was even hurt. This child was left in the custody of that father. She thought this child was okay. She comes back. Can you imagine a mom going to nurse her child and the child refuses to nurse, and you take it to the take your baby to a hospital and find out your baby's got broken bones? That's horrible. Horrible. This baby, and I just want to remind you guys, this little 10-week-old girl, she survived. She survived probably because she was so tiny and her bones were so soft. That's probably the only reason why she survived. This child did not survive. Emmanuel did not survive. I think we don't, and I'm still waiting for the a-hole that says, you didn't get it from a, sources. Nobody said that. I'm so sick of that. I am so sick of that. We know evil when we see evil. And this right here, even law enforcement isn't even holding back on this one. I can't even listen to any more of this. I can't. It bothers me. How in the world is this man out? And I get sick. I was so sick of asking those questions. Hey, TD Dean, it's nice to see you, love. I get so tired of asking those questions. And why wasn't there automatic home visits, especially in light that this man's still on probation for injuring a baby, breaking baby bones? Where was the oversight over this family? Whenever you have somebody charged with those crimes and you know that they have other children, that is probable cause to worry about the well-being of those other children. Why do we have to have a child go missing and presumed deceased before something happens? Why does this always have to be the case? What is our money not good enough for these people? We're sending billions and billions of dollars to child advocacy programs all over this country. Where the hell's the money going, and why are our children being protected? That's what I want to know. Why was this child still in that house? Especially after a 2024 arrest of gun charges of a violent felon that likes to hurt children. Make that make sense. San Bernardino is not buying these parents, but you know what? At the end of the day, it wasn't San Bernardino that let this monster out of jail. It was a judge. It was soft on crime approach. We, as American citizens, are tired of this nonsense.
There are several new developments in the search for this missing baby boy. Now, his mother first told deputies that she was attacked and that her baby was kidnapped from a parking lot in Yucaipa.
And that is the very first. I still can't figure out. I do know. It's the white. It was the white. It was the white when she said she saw white and she fell on the floor. Not the pavement, not the concrete. Because I'm telling you, when you're knocked out, you're not seeing white. You're only seeing white as if you've been hit pretty hard and it knocked you for a loop. But you're still conscious and you're seeing bright lights. You're seeing flashes of little spots like stars coming about. But you're not knocked out. When you're knocked out, you don't see white. You see black. You see nothing until you wake up, until somebody shakes you and gets your eyes open. And then you're very confused as to what just happened. It takes you a second to process it. What she described is not being knocked out. It's being hit in the face. And I believe she was hit in the face. I believe she was hit in the face in her home, and I believe she fell to the floor of her home. I don't believe she was hit hard enough to knock her out because she saw white, not black, or didn't know what happened until she came to. That would have told me she was knocked out. When you're knocked out, you're knocked out. You don't see stars, you don't see white, and you damn sure don't remember a damn thing. You remember coming to and being very confused as to what's going on. Now, I know people have been, unfortunately, have been in here and probably have been knocked out. That's not true either, Faye. That's not true either. I lost my life on my living room floor. And I'm telling you, I did not see white. I have an experience. And I did not see white. I didn't see my life flash before my eyes. I didn't see, I was up 1 minute, and the next thing I know, I'm coming to. I was not hit. That's not what incapacitated me. So, the only time I've ever seen stars is when I got hit in the face pretty hard. But I was still walking and talking, and we won't say what happened after that. But I will tell you that I've seen white before, but it never knocked me out. But when I was out, it was not white. I didn't know what happened until I woke up. So the floor is indoors. Yeah. Just FYI, it's common for Hispanics to call the ground the floor. Near all of Hispanic speak origin refer to the ground as the floor, something to do with no true translation. That's interesting. Possibly. So it might just be speaking. I think it was more leakage. I really do. But, it's definitely another perspective people need to be aware of. So she's saying that Hispanic origin refers to the ground as the floor. So I know we've got to have some Hispanic people in here. Somebody that would know if that is it wasn't your time to see the light. Well, maybe it wasn't her time to see the light either. I don't think she was close to death. I just don't. I know that even after all that happened, I didn't appreciate what I had until many years later. The seed was planted, but it didn't sprout. And when the seed sprouted, it was quite the chance. Yeah, I think she is, Jake. I do think she is Hispanic, or at least has some Hispanic. No, I think she's Hispanic. She's got the darker hair, the darker eyes, the tanner skin. She has kind of like a Spanish slight Spanish accent, which is surprising because she has, in my opinion, more of a Spanish accent than Jake. And I was, believe it or not, surprised Jake was, I found out through this process that he's here illegally. And I was actually, I would have never have known because he spoke so well English without that heavy, oh yeah, he's here illegally. But, and that's why I was saying, because I was actually shocked when I heard that he was here illegally because, again, we heard him on the interview. He spoke perfect spoke perfect English. I didn't hear as much of a Hispanic accent in his conversation as I did in her conversation. So if I would have, just judging people, I would have assumed that she would probably have been more in line with the illegal just by her having the strong Hispanic accent. So it just shows you right there. You can't trust that, You can't trust that. But yeah, I found that out that he was here illegally. And it was quite a shock to me as well. So she sees SARS when she got punched in the face, in my opinion. Yeah, and I believe that. But I don't believe it knocked her out. And that's what she's trying to get us to believe, is that she was knocked out at the car. Not only was there no witnesses, but they never got a dog scent, much like Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' case. They still have never picked up a scent of Sebastian outside from around the house. Never. They've never picked up a scent of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, even though his parents said not only did he walk out of the house willingly, he walked out of the house barefoot, leaving all those skin cells on any blade of grass, concrete, sidewalk, pure skin cells. And the dogs couldn't track one scent from Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And now we have these yahoos removing camera footage. But the bad part is that I think it's stupid for people to do this, because what ends up happening when they delete the entire thing is that goes into circumstantial evidence, strong circumstantial evidence. If they had nothing to hide, why this date and time did they wipe their entire system? Why did they wipe their entire video system after they reported this child missing? That's going to be strong circumstantial evidence to prove that these parents did this. Now, would that alone convict them? Of course not. But that, in addition with all the other circumstantial evidence, in proving that the only people that had access, motive, means, and opportunity were the two adults living with this child, they're sunk. Right now, all law enforcement is doing is trying to find this baby, but they're also preparing to have a circumstantial case and a second-degree murder charge against these parents, unless they can find enough blood to prove that this child could not survive those injuries. That would be at which point they can go after the first degree without the body. Now, just in my opinion. But even then, they don't usually go after first. They always go after second. Some, I think they do. I think they went after first and second with the Wests, and they got second. But California does no-body cases. I know somebody asked me at some point, do you think if they don't find them, will they bring this case to trial? And the answer is yes. I truly do believe that, because this is not going to be the first time California has convicted parents of doing the unthinkable with no bodies. West case was out of Bakersfield, California. That is a prime example of them taking this to court and both parents being behind bars for the rest of their life. So California, believe it or not, as much as I don't agree with a lot of their politics and stuff, as far as these court cases, them being able to take a circumstantial case to court and get a conviction, they're up there. I don't worry about that in California. I know if there's enough information, they will put the person behind bars. Besides that, California is a greedy state, and every person they have behind bars, they're getting a paycheck for. So they're not going to skimp around, because that's money to them. And as unfortunate as that sounds, that's how I feel about California. So it's all about the dollar bill. If they get this guy behind bars for the rest of their life, this is a free check for the state of California. Sounds awful for me putting it that way, but that's how I feel about it. And that's how I feel about it for all of these states, because if it wasn't about that, they would be finding better ways to deal with low-level crimes instead of throwing them in a jail where these people that commit these atrocities are also housed. I'm sorry, there's two different types of crimes here: violent crimes and nonviolent crimes. And I don't think that nonviolent offenders should be incorporated with violent offenders. My belief, I'm telling you, this would change a lot if they segregated the violence from the nonviolence. totally different. I mean, totally different jails. I don't even want nonviolent offenders in jail because most of them are on drugs or don't have jobs or educations. And if you fix that in their life, the other stuff will fix itself. But it doesn't work like that because our government would actually have to pay for these services versus getting a paycheck from our federal government for throwing them in jail. We have to look at the dynamic of our country, and that's the dynamic of our country.
Yucaipa, but now investigators say she's not been able to keep her story straight. NBC4's Lauren Coronado was live in our newsroom with how deputies are responding this morning.
Lynette, a spokesperson for the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, tells us the couple's 2-year-old was taken by Riverside Child Protective Services over the weekend.
So we want to stop there because one of our other concerns that we said, one of my biggest concerns related to this case was I don't like the mom. You guys know that. I feel like the mom failed her children. But I also believe that the mother is a battered wife. And I think she exhibits a lot of the battered wife check marks. That doesn't give her a free pass. It will never give her a free pass, and it doesn't give her the compassion of the Bullhorn Betty channel just to be a battered wife. She did not do anything to protect her son against this monster. And so one of our biggest concerns was making sure that she was safe, and more importantly, her other child, her other daughter, was safe. And my biggest concern was whether these children were taken and put in protective custody. It is a great day to report that at least their younger daughter that was displayed in their videos, their interviews, she is now in protective custody, and we at least do not have to worry about whether that child will be injured by this man. That child has been protected. San Bernardino has stepped up to the plate. They are doing what is right by this child, and we want to applaud that, and it at least allows us to sleep a little better at night, knowing at least one young child will not be harmed by this man. So, good thing.
And just last night, detectives were at the family's home in Cabazon. This was just after 7 o'clock last night. Witnesses say they saw detectives talking with the missing baby's father right outside the home. Also last night, as a search.
So they're questioning. They are questioning Jake. I think everybody is ultra focused on Jake. Let me put let me put a poll in here. We're going to start a poll. We're going to ask who actually hurt Emmanuel. Mom or dad? Question mark. I want a third party. Abductor. Okay. We're starting the poll. We have 257 viewers in the chat right now. If you guys would like to take the poll, I would greatly appreciate it. The question of the poll is, who do you think, hurt? Let me see. Who actually hurt Emmanuel? Mom or dad? And the poll has mom, dad, and abductor, the unknown third-party abductor. So I would like to get that up to at least, with the 200, almost 300 people we have in here, I'd like to get that the polls up to at least 150 before we close it out. So if you would like to participate in that poll, please do. All your opinions are accepted, and I want to see where we are from our audience. Our audience, sorry. Now, the next thing is, and this is what we see all too often as well, is where we have a missing child, much like Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, much like Summer Wells. We see all too often where we have young children or children, underage kids, under the age of 18, disappearing while they're under the care of their mom, stepfather, and or other family members. And all too often, when they go missing and their parents are deemed a prime suspect either by public or by law enforcement, one thing we notice is they don't help search. They are constantly caught in lies and inconsistencies. And lastly, they never, ever show up to events for their children. It is always left to third parties, always left to strangers to set up, coordinate, and do these type of vigils and searches. And we can always identify the bad parents. Why? Because they never show up. Just like the most recent hashtag Christopher Proudfoot and hashtag Katie Proudfoot, where they fail to ever search for their child. They condemn the public for thinking that they're responsible. They chew out everybody. They worry about only themselves and their emotions. They don't give a crap about the missing child. And then they just fade off into the background. They never show up to searches. They never show up to vigils. They never do anything to help. Telltale signs of a guilty conscience. Telltale signs of a guilty conscience. And we see this over and over again. And then we have these idiots on these hate channels saying, oh my God, I cannot believe you think like that. Oh my God, they're innocent. No, they're not. Because we see these behaviors every single day, every single week from these horrible, disgusting parents. And here we can just show you the mimicked behavior from one case to another case. I'm sorry we have shitty law enforcement in Sumner County that don't know their ass from their elbow. But clearly in San Bernardino, they may have dropped the ball prior to this child disappearing. But now that they're here, they're on it. They're not allowing these people to get away with it. Where's that tenacity and that passion from Sumner County for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers? You don't see these people, this law enforcement body, covering the ass of Rebecca or Jake. They're out here telling us they've lawyered up. They're out here telling us the inconsistencies. Why does the cat got the tongue when it comes to Sumner County and a 15? Oh, that's right, because they got connections. Hashtag Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot have direct connections to the government of Sumner County. And until that government is cleansed, until they're fired and new bodies are put in there, you can bet your ass Sebastian Rogers will go by the wayside. So we're going to make sure, since they didn't want to fight for Sebastian, we're going to fight for Sebastian and we're going to remove them all from office. It may take us a while. It may take us 4 years. It may take us 8 years. But bye-bye your jobs. Bye-bye your jobs. I want to make sure that when any county across this country wants to violate people's rights, wants to help the criminals, that they are not only exposed on all of our platforms, that we start doing things like removing those animals from office so they cannot hurt another citizen of this state, of this great nation. And that's what we are planning on doing in Sumner County and any county I go into that acts just like Sumner County. We had to deal with it in Chatham County. You would have thought Sumner County would have gotten a clue. But no, they wanted to push it a little bit further. So maybe we'll use them for the next county that wants to have the good old boy club reign supreme. The good old boys club has done nothing but cause misery and problems in citizens' lives. That's why we kiboshed them years ago. Some little facets of our backwoods in our country still have this good old boy system to maintain control and money. And we say, hell to the nah. When we find you, we're going to expose you, and we're going to start putting mechanisms in place to remove you from office. That is the commitment of the Bullhorn Betty channel across this country. Across this country. Let's see where we are with the polling. We're at 116 already. So if you guys have not taken the poll yet and you're just coming into the Bullhorn Betty channel, we're trying to poll our audience to find out who actually hurt Emmanuel. Do you think it was the mom, the dad, or the abductor? And right now, with 118 votes, the supreme number by overwhelming amounts is the father. We have 93% that believe the father is 100% responsible, with a far next second place, with the mom being 7% so far, and then the abductor being the lowest on the totem pole at an astonishing 1%. Literally nobody believes the abductor theory, and I kind of understand why. I probably should have put mom/dad, but I really wanted to hone in on who do we think actually injured this child, not stood by and allowed the injury to happen, but actually injured this child. And I think that our audience is spot on the money. But it is good to know that the mom is being considered, because I think she should be considered by our audience. Absolutely, hands down, should be considered. So we've got about another 22, 23 votes I'd like to see come in, and then we'll pull. But I think we've got, actually, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll now, because I think we've got it. The abductor theory went up 1%, and I'm pretty sure that has to do with some of the trolls in here going through, but it might be legitimate polls. So they're still so low, it doesn't really matter. The poll ended up being 92% that the father did it, 6% that the mom did it, and a whopping 2% that the abductor was responsible for this. So there we have it. And again, you know, we come back to these cases over and over again. Who's missing from this audience out here? You know who's missing? Mommy and daddy. Mommy and daddy.
Continues for 7-month-old Emmanuel Haro. Community members came together for a vigil demanding answers. This was at Big 5 Sporting Goods in Yucaipa, where Emmanuel's mother, Rebecca Haro, says she was attacked in the parking lot Thursday, knocked unconscious, and woke up to find baby Emmanuel missing. Our team spoke with Rebecca Friday.
I want you guys to understand. Let me just go back here. Look at those people. This is what I call beauty. Okay, this melts my heart. This display, and this is what we see. Frank says I'm not a troll. We know Frank's not a troll. Well, I don't know. You put it on smooth. Maybe. Are you a closet troll, Frank? Are you a closet troll? Come on, baby. Tell me the truth. Good morning, Frank. It's nice to see you, love. Comes in and says I'm not a troll. Where's our whack-a-troll? Do we have our whack-a-troll? What did I do with the whack-a-troll? Let me see if I can put the whack-a-troll in here. I think it's going to be great for Frank. Okay, let's see what we can do. Video capture device. No, we don't want a video capture. That's for my camera. I don't need a second camera. What are we going to do? Is it going to be a video? Media source, maybe? Audio capture, screen capture. I think it might be media source. Yes, it is media source. Okay, let's do whack-a-troll. Whack-a-troll. I know we've got to have it in here somewhere. Let's do a search of the local system here. Whack-a-troll. Whack. Do we have whack? Whack-a-troll. There's my video. There's my audio. Is that an audio? Yeah, that's an audio. That's an audio. Where's my whack-a-troll video? I'm going to find this damn video, y'all. Okay, let's go in here. I've been missing whack-a-troll. I believe the baby went gone when the mother got her. That's my opinion too, Broken Dream. That is absolutely my without a doubt opinion. About this, without a doubt. Let me see if I can put this in kind. Let's see if we can find the video. Oh, there's my troll video, or my troll folder. I bet you I've got the video. Let's see if this is it. Is this it? No, this is it. Which one is it? Is it this one? Okay, come on. Come on, let's see what this one is. This might not be it.
What?
This might not be
That's
it.
even worse than lip syncing. Not my brother. Not today.
No, that's not it. That's right. I mean, it's kind of it, but it's not it. I think it's the other one. Hold on. Let's do this again. We're getting close. We're getting close. Might as well do it now while we're here. Browse. We have our troll folder. Okay, where is... Let's see if this is it.
They sing different. They dance different. Why, some of them can't even begin to grasp
No,
the
this is
concept
not
of
it either.
hammer time.
Damn it! These are all the things that I used for my troll video. These are all the things I used for my troll video, not the actual video. Let me go in here and do a troll. Troll. Let's see if we've got it in here. Let's do intro. Found it! Found it! Ooh, I found it. Can I copy? Can I copy the link? Copy. Okay, we're getting it in, y'all. I might as well do it now. Let's try it again. Whack a troll. I think I got it now. Okay, browse. Troll. This Mac. Now I just seen it in the movies. There it is. It won't. I'm gonna have to move it over to downloads. Move. Are you sure you want to move? Yes, I want to move. Okay, now it's moved. Let's try it again. There we go. Open! There's no volume. Whack control. Why is there no volume on my whack control?
Sneaky gremlins.
Can't hear? I thought I fixed it. You guys didn't? Oh, it did revert back. Hold on. Let's do it again. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. There we go. Is that better?
Sneaky gremlins love to fight, but we're here
Is it
to
still
set it
silent?
right. Jump and duck, let's take a shot, turning trolls into what they're not. Whack a troll, let 'em tumble, let 'em roll. Swing your spatula or a stick, whack 'em fast, whack 'em quick.
All right. There we go. There we go. Okay. We can hear it. Woo woo! We got our troll back. We got our troll back. You know, that's the reason why I did it while I was here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take away from the story, but I knew if I didn't add it right now and we didn't test it, we would never have it. And everybody loves our little troll video. So whack 'em. Frank, you better watch out. You better run. We know you're the troll up in here today. No, I'm just joking. Hey, the mullet. We haven't done the mullet. Should we do the mullet? Let me see if I can find that one. Let's see if we can find that one. Mullet? Did I put it in Sebastian's? Let's do mullet. This is going to be a little bit different. Oh, good gracious. Okay, let's do the mullet. Mullet. No, we don't want to search the troll file. We want to search the... I don't think I have it listed as the mullet video in here. Oh, good gracious. Okay, let me see where I can find it. Cases, Sebastian. I think I've stuck it into Sebastian's because it was about Sebastian. Let's see if he's in his folder. Let's see. Do you have anything as the mullet? Can I search here for the mullet? Mullet. It's not. Let's check Sebastian Rogers' file. I'm gonna have to search for that one. That one's not even coming up. I know I've got it somewhere. Hashtag Chris Proudfoot grows mullets. Oh, Betty was snapping and getting no sound because I was listening to the sound. I'm rocking it out. I got the sound here. I got the sound for everything here. Yep, I agree. Got your text. Nice to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. You know the one with the mullet saying, wear granny panties. Hashtag Chris Proudfoot wears granny panties. We'll find the mullet. But you know what really upsets me, all satire aside, is this. It's the fact that these are all strangers that had more love in their heart for this beautiful baby than their own mother and father. And we see this time and time again. And that's why I always bring up hashtag Chris Proudfoot and hashtag Katie Lynn Proudfoot, because I think it's important to know when monsters are monsters, they don't get away with stuff like this. We constantly expose them. Constantly. Oh, I put this. Oh, let me take this. I didn't realize I have this. Okay. They are so close to Mexico to run. Well, did you guys hear, this is kind of on a different topic. Actually, let's just get through this vigil, and then I'm going to talk to you guys about it. I'm going to keep this up, Passion Flower, because I want to bring this back to you guys, because we have another story that is, I can't show you the video. It's too graphic. It's being plastered all over social media. I don't know how some people can show this stuff on here, but if I show it on here, my channel gets dinged. But we're going to go over a semi-truck. And I can't show you the video again. It's too difficult to watch.
Baby Emmanuel missing. Our team spoke with Rebecca Friday.
I don't remember nothing. I got up off the floor and I didn't see my child. Someone took him from me.
Rebecca has not spoken publicly.
Could this, you know what? I keep looking at that. I wonder if she is being truthful about she was knocked out and woke up and her baby was gone. I just think she's lying about where it took place. We know that Jake has a violent propensity towards toddlers. Violent. She's giving me Susan Smith vibes, Cinderella. Yeah, I know. That's what the floor. It just gives, it makes me feel, I know that Mama Bear is saying that sometimes that Hispanic people refer to the ground as the floor, and that very well may be. I have a long history. Half of my family is Hispanic, and many people don't know that, but my dad's side of the family has, a whole family of Hispanic people because our families are blended, and they're my biological family. They're not married in. They're my biological family. But I've never heard any of my family refer to the ground as the floor. But again, I don't, my family's here in Florida, but I do have family, a distant family in Texas, because I know my family members go over to Texas quite a lot to visit extended family. So I don't know if they refer to the ground as floor over in Texas, but I know my family here in Florida, I've never heard them say that. But again, I don't know. If that is just maybe something from, because, everybody has different ways they speak in different areas of the country. And a lot of people, look at Boston. What's a car? Can anybody tell me what a car is? It sounds like a freaking bird. Okay? They're talking about a motor vehicle. Okay? I'm not trying to pick on the real Me Too either. Okay? I'm just saying. What is a car? Can you tell me what a car is? I know what a caw is. A caw is a caw of a bird. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because, you know, it is possible. Is there a possibility? Because I know, you know, when Chris was saying we all the time, I say we a lot on this program. And when I'm speaking of we, I'm usually speaking of the coffee club, you know, collectively, because I don't feel that, you know, it's never about me. So I very rarely use I'm always having to correct myself and say, when I say we did something, I'm like, I did something, because I don't want people thinking that, you know, anything other than we as a team, we as the coffee club, we as true crime content creators and our pack of people. But I believe that was leakage. I believe she was telling us and reliving a violent experience, but I believe she was lying about where that violent experience took place. I believe the violent experience took place inside her home, not in a parking lot at the Big Five. Pack your car. Yeah, that's it. Why did they pack the car? I don't know. The real Me Too, can you explain that? Because when we say ka, we're referring to like a blackbird, okay, or a crow. When the real Me Too is speaking of ka, she's referring to a vehicle, not a bird. I'm just saying. Typical of Hispanic to refer to the ground as such. Okay, well, just not been my experience, but you know, I like to look at all different things, and again, it could be you know, location area, you know, maybe that's how they just speak in that area, but either way, I feel like it might be leakage, but we really don't know. We're just assuming that we are, I think, assuming correctly that something did happen to this child, that this mother and father do know what happened. The father, very problematic history with other child cruelty charges that he was found guilty of. Okay, I want you guys to understand, this is not just where somebody was arrested and accused of the crime. They weren't just arrested and accused of the crime. They were arrested, accused of the crime, went through the legal process, and were found guilty of the charge and were sentenced to that charge. And that charge was stemming from a 10-week-old baby girl. A 10-week-old baby girl. Nobody is believing this guy, and it's upsetting me, because I feel like he has violated his parole or probation, and it's upsetting me because I feel like California does have the ability to put cuffs on him right now for charges unaffiliated or unassociated with this child. And I hope that they do have at least one or two detectives that are looking in the history of Jake and Rebecca. And if they find anything from, you know, inappropriate parking, speeding, you know, other charges that they never charged them with or chose to withhold charging, they need to be bringing that all to the table. That is the low-hanging fruit where they can start really applying pressure to this mother. If they can find something that this mother has done to put her in jail for at least 24 hours to get a bond for whatever it is, they are going to have a little more ability to ruffle her feathers to get her to speak. We need some more pressure, the pressure of just the public looking at them and saying that your inconsistent statements and you're deleting videos from your cameras around your home is not enough public pressure. This pressure is not going to make her break. They need to apply internal pressure. They need to put these people, they need to detain these people on suspicion of something. Throw this mother in jail for the 48 hours they have, pull her out in about 36 hours, and start working her. I think that would be more of a strategy, because we've got a 7-month-old child here that has been most likely brutalized, and this child, we need to find out what happened. It's hot out right now, guys. This is going to be horrible. That means that even when they find this child, the bones are going to say a lot because I believe the bones have a lot of evidence to them. But we're going to be dealing with we're going to most likely, even if they found Emmanuel right now, we're going to be dealing with an uphill battle related to forensics being done to him. Because of the heat, we all know how horrible and detrimental heat is to a deceased person. It causes decomp to accelerate. It causes the tissues, the soft tissues, to break down, and it makes it more difficult to identify with specificity what really happened to that child. However, like I said, based on the past, now that we know that the little girl sustained major injuries like broke bones, we can now apply that to this situation and say, even when they find little baby Emmanuel, I do believe they're going to be able to find enough evidence just on the evidence of his bones to charge these parents with a lot. I do not believe, I saw that scar on that baby's eye, 7 months old. I know that child could not have gotten it by any other means than being hurt, than falling into something. But not a baby can fall into something and get a bruise with the weight of their body. To create a gash so deep that it leaves a gash. When I fell into a wall and gashed myself, I was clocking almost 190 pounds at the time. I was a heavy woman. Okay? I was a short, heavy woman that was top heavy, and gosh forbid I was drinking. This was when I was fully inebriated, and I fell face first into a door frame. Into a door frame. And my gash, my injury did not look like that child's injury. 190 pounds, face first into a door frame. I've got a little scar. I've got a little tiny scar. This child has an indentation as if he was forced into that corner. Probably by throwing, slapping, or God knows what else. But I have never in my life seen a gash so deep that is healed. I thought the child had a deformity of his eye until we looked a little closer and we realized he does not have a lazy eye. He has a deformed eye because something injured that eye. Something injured that eye. Let's keep going. They call her Rebecca Halo. Look at that. Somebody made a mistake. Somebody made a major mistake. I just looked at that. I don't know why I didn't catch it at first, but it says Rebecca Halo, not Haro or Haro, and just say horror, right? Rebecca Horror and Jake Horror. We're not going to call him Haro. We're going to call him Horror. 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 Horror.
Someone took him from me.
Rebecca has not spoken publicly since, and apparently she's not saying much to detectives either. A spokesperson for the San Bernardino.
And if you notice, her husband always has his hands on her when he's speaking. Did you guys notice that? Watch this.
Someone took him from me.
Watch.
Rebecca has not spoken publicly since,
Boom.
and apparently she's not saying much to detectives either. A spokesperson for the San Bernardino County.
That freaks me out because I believe, he's abusing her. And every time I look at any conversation she's having with anybody, he's right next to her and he is constantly touching her. Now, you guys might be saying, wait a minute, Patty. Didn't you just say on Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' case that you had a problem with the fact Katie and Chris weren't touching each other? Yes. Yes, I do. But I also think they're both evil, okay? There's a little bit of a difference here because I believe that this woman is a battered wife, okay? When it comes to Katie Proudfoot, I believe both her and Chris, are both abusive to one another, okay? I don't see this lady here being, the hardest person in the world that's going to go up against her man. I'm sorry. I just don't. But she's got to quit lying. She's got to save herself and she's got to save her children. This is not going to get better, but somebody did bring up, they wonder if he's managed to convince her that she's going to go down with him. And I'm sure he has. I'm sure he has convinced her in her mind that she is a part of whatever he did. And that is what's so problematic for me, because I feel for her. But at some point, she's going to have to find the strength within herself to fight for her babies. And until that day comes, we cannot show this lady compassion. We have to provide that public, much needed public pressure, because she holds a lot of answers. And she is still sitting right there with her abuser. Her abuser is within arm's reach of her. And every time she speaks, he has his hands all over her. I have a problem with that. Is that a little hypocritical? No, because the details of this case differ slightly than the details of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' case. And we analyze these cases based on their merits of each and every case and the nuances of each of those cases. This is a different dynamic that we're dealing with the relationship between the mother and the father than we were with the Sebastian Rogers case. So the mother and the father are going to be treated differently. Does that mean that there are not details that are similar to one another? No, there are absolutely details that are similar from one case to another case. But in my opinion, this is problematic for me, because we do believe that this lady is a battered wife. And therefore, when we do see her abuser sitting next to her and our abuser putting hands on her, we feel that that is controlling in nature. Just my opinion. Again, you guys have to do your own factual research. No, it was a child with another woman. The baby ended up brain damaged. Yes. Her sister is just lying too. The black eye was seen before this here. Yes. We have, let me take this off and show you my my timeline. So, oops, that's my, I think it's this one here. Okay, so here's the timeline that we've been able to get back so far. Now, I'm just going to move my body. Just move my body. So up here is August 3rd, black eye. Okay, we learned from Justin for All that practice was canceled on August 11th. The game and the issue in question is August 14th at the practice game, and this is when she allegedly left at 7 p.m. to go get a mouth guard. I don't believe she left there at 7 p.m. I could be wrong, but I really don't believe she left there. When she got here at this store, the Big Five, she was there at 7 p.m. allegedly when she realized she took her youngest child, which was Emmanuel, and as she was getting Emmanuel out, she realized that his diaper was soiled. Instead of grabbing the diaper bag and going into a restroom inside this clean sporting goods store, she decides to go ahead and start changing him out in the truck, which is not the most uncommon thing. We've seen it happen many times before. And as she was trying to change her baby, somebody tapped on her shoulder and said, "Hola." And then she turns around and this guy cold cocks her in the face and steals her baby. But he hits her so hard that he knocks her unconscious. And so she's laying out there in the parking lot of this Big Five, parking lot. And she comes to and realizes her baby's gone. So she gets up and runs into the store to see if anybody came in with a baby or if her baby crawled into the store somehow. They said no, and around, where's my mouse? There we go. And then around 7:47, she one of the people inside the store reports the abduction. So, where's my label? There we go. Come back label. There we are. So that is kind of the details. Now, since this 911 call, they brought out scent dogs immediately out there, canine units to start tracking the scent. When they got to the Big Five, one of the most noticeable features of that scene was no scent of the child or this alleged abductor. There was no scent of either person at that Big Five. So law enforcement went to the home, started questioning these people, started challenging them on some of the issues related to the story. Then the mother lawyers up. They asked the mother, prior to her lawyering up, they challenged her. The way it works is they challenged her on the story. She continues to lie to them. Then they ask her to take a polygraph test. Then she lawyers up. And now she's not cooperating at all with the investigation. The investigators executed a search warrant, went out to the property, took cadaver dogs. It is reported that they found blood in the laundry area of the home, but I don't have confirmation, so I'm going to take Robin's statement as the more accurate, probably, statement as opposed to a specific area. They found blood also in and around their home. So I think that would be a more accurate, more vague statement to make because we don't know exactly where this blood was found specifically, but we know blood was found in the home. I don't know how much blood was found in the home. Was it a significant amount? Was it just a smear of blood? What are we talking about here? And with it being in the laundry room, from the reports I've heard, could that indicate that it was on a towel or a washcloth or some other type of cleaning rags that tried to clean the scene? Is there evidence of this cleanup? And I have to say, yes, there is evidence of a cleanup at the home. How do I know? It's because of the newest released information related to the cameras out there at the property. One, why would they have so many cameras at the property in the middle of nowhere? I kind of feel like there was some illegal activity going on, possibly some type of substance sales or distribution type of thing related to this Jake guy. I don't know why I feel that way. And I think it's because I just don't believe that a job at Walmart can afford a $300 and something thousand home. And that's what they're living in. That home is a very expensive home in our realm. $300 and some thousand for a home for a purchase price with people that are working at Walmart just seems unrealistic. So how in the world are they able to pay all of these bills? What does the mother do for work? What does Jake do for work? And why is this? Why do I feel like this? The nephew's OD has something to do with all of this. I don't know. Maybe it's a stretch, but I think it's a stretch law enforcement needs to look into, because if that is true and there is some type of illegal conduct going on inside this house related to something unrelated to Emmanuel, this might be a great low-hanging fruit that they can, start charging these people with and getting them off the out of the area, being able to hurt anybody else. But again, I don't know. Yeah, and giving $300 to help with the funeral. It was weird. And I don't know why they would do it that way through the GoFundMe versus just giving their family $300, because GoFundMe takes a cut of that money. That GoFundMe, they don't do this out of the goodness of their heart. It's a business plan for them. So every dollar that is contributed to these fundraisers, they get a cut of for facilitating the fundraiser. So just keep that in mind. It's just odd. It just seems like they wanted it to be known that they were contributing for some weird reason. Selling rugs, I'm sure. That's what I'm kind of feeling like. Why would he have to have a firearm? I mean, what threats did they think that they were having at the house where he was caught and charged with firearm possession from a convicted felon, and they have all these cameras around the house? We've heard this song and dance before, no? It does sound like something illegal is going on in that home, over and above the child care issues. They have to get warrants to check nephew's grave. Yeah. Yes, gangs and rugs, trafficking charge. Yeah, something. I feel like there's something more here. They need to dig a little deeper in Jake. Betty, they allegedly impounded Jake's truck. Okay, so we're getting some new information. It sounds like Jake's truck. And how is the guy from Walmart? What year, make, and model is this truck? Like I want to follow the money at this point. Something's telling me, something in the back of my brain is telling me there's something more going on here. Because I was sitting there thinking about it, because somebody had put up the house, like the Zillow house, and it had like $319,000 purchase price on it, or they bought it for $319,000 previously. And I'm just thinking, okay, well, they must own their own businesses and stuff like that. And then does it pay that well? Like to be a cashier or a person that stocks the stuff, that they pay well enough that you can live in a $300,000 home? I mean, I thought most people only made $14, $15, maybe $16 an hour there. That's not enough for that to have car payments and mortgages. In Minnesota, it's $20 to start. Yeah, but isn't your cost of living really high? I mean, would that $20 really help? Interesting, though. There might be cadavers sent in the truck, Rod says. Yeah, there's something. Or they just might want to be doing forensic testing, because people that think they're slick, they don't clean very well. Because, first of all, the proteins of the blood and other things attached to objects. And there's only certain solutions that would remove that from being able to be found. And it's usually a bleach, an ammonia, a peroxide type of solution to help clean some of that blood. And even then, that nobody knows how to clean blood. They're not taking up the truck literally apart, bolt by bolt. If there's a pickup truck that has a bed in it, they'll take the bolts out, lift that bed up, and see if anything seeped underneath that they can capture. Nobody's cleaning that truck that well. So I'd always believe that there is DNA or forensic. If a crime has been committed, even after washing vehicles, I truly believe that there is always going to be some type of biological material somewhere that wasn't cleaned away, and it's just trying to find it. But it's usually when you have those truck beds that have the liners in it, you have to remove the liners, you have to remove the bolts, you have to remove the bed off the truck. Sometimes that stuff seeps in underneath the bed in little little places there. But it's usually not a whole lot. It's just minor stuff, but it does tell the story. And that's what I'm hoping will happen if they do have the truck. But if they took the truck as opposed to her car, unless they only have one vehicle, this is a big step in the right direction, because they don't believe that. This is telling me they most likely don't believe the child is on their property, that they believe that they transported this child to this child's final resting place is my assumption. We don't know that for 100% fact. Again, just an assumption being made, but let's keep listening here.
County Sheriff's Department says last week detectives confronted Rebecca with inconsistencies to her initial statement, and she declined to continue with an interview. Now a national children's advocacy and violence prevention group says it's calling off its search for the baby.
I want you to see, do you guys notice that these two photos that they have showed us on this program? There's no scar on the eye. There's no deformation of the eye. And now the eye has a huge scar on it. This eye here is dropped down to about right where his lid is. It's sad. It's just sad.
baby and pulling its reward offer. This after Rebecca's story began changing and after Emmanuel's 2-year-old sister was removed again from the Haro home by CPS. Of course, if you have any information about where the baby is or if you saw something at Big 5 in Yucaipa last Thursday, police want to hear from you. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Lauren Coronado for Today in LA.
Yeah, store managers make $150,000. I don't think he was a manager. He seems like a low-level employee that may have done some stocking or, something like that, cashier. Lots of family kicking in. When you get 10 people kicking in, you have a chance. Yeah. My bonus boy lives in a trailer on Walmart Pay in Missouri. Yeah. So, I don't know. And it says my mortgage for 22 years ago was $99,000. That's implying that she purchased the home. Maybe we need to look into the property. If somebody knows this physical address of their home, I guess I could look it up. Please send that to me by email to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I'll look into their mortgage and see where we're at with that. Justice for Emmanuel, thank you so much, Panda Bear's mom. And as she still advocates for Devlin Tate, a young teenage boy that disappeared from Michigan and still is missing. And again, missing under suspicious circumstances. Another one that I just really don't trust the family, and haven't really trusted the family since I heard some of the details from Panda Bear's mom. And I know she's been advocating for the family and trying to help them, and trying to help them find answers for their son. And it sounds like maybe things just might be heating up a little bit in the case. So we'll keep our eyes and ears open for that case. I believe Ruggs, money, and temper. You let one demon and he brings friends. Yeah. That's about it. So were they cleaning? I don't know if they were cleaning. Yes, Betty, it's forensic testing they're doing on the truck. Okay. So we're learning that they're doing that on the truck. Are the parents still missing or running? No, the parents aren't running or missing from everything I understand. They're under close watch by law enforcement. 30 years ago was $80,000. Oh, I'm sure. I mean, the house that I bought in 2004, I think is almost up to $300,000 right now. My first house, the one out up by 64. It was my 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. It had a garage. I like that house, but the market crashed, and so I saved my money and found this house and paid cash for it and let the other house go. So, we all have to do what we have to do to survive in this crazy place. But when I bought my house, I think I bought it for $96,427. It was on a bid, so I just did a weird number like $96,427. On when I was bidding on the property, there was like 5 or 6 bidders. It took me forever to get into that house, but when I finally got in, I was happy. But it's worth a lot of money, a lot more money than I purchased it back in 2004. So definitely understand. But I don't know if she would have had the house that long. We shouldn't assume. So I'll look into that. I think it's definitely something we can look into to find out, because maybe it's nothing, and by looking into this, I might find out it's nothing, that I'm up the wrong track with this. But I just feel like there's something here. There's something underlying that I just can't put my finger on. Kind of like with Lily and Jack Sullivan's case. With Daniel Martel. I don't know what specifically it is about Daniel Martel that I just don't like, and just have had this bias about him since the beginning. He checkmarked all the boxes in the right place for missing children, but I still didn't believe him or trust him. It was just something in my gut that I felt like he was manipulative, and I couldn't put my finger on it. Still haven't been able to put my finger on it, but yeah. Baby car seat checked, scent of death. I don't know. It's we definitely like hearing that they're really honing in on these parents. So they've found something very, very wrong for them to be, focusing this much publicly on the parents. This is they're making this known publicly, so that's telling me that they're trying to apply some public pressure to the parents, but it's also telling me that they want the public knowing that there's no need for search efforts because this child's not abducted. There's no crazed man up, that's what it comes down to when you go into these communities, because when somebody comes and says that they were basically beaten in a parking lot and their child, you're talking about a very violent situation, and all the news reporters in the area are reporting this violent abduction happening in the middle of broad daylight in a public location. That puts anybody in fear for their safety, especially new and expecting mothers. And so I think part of this is because, people are fearful in their community, and they have a duty to make sure that they allow them to understand that we don't have a crazed lunatic coming up here beating, single moms and taking their children. And I think a lot of that has to do with that they feel obligated to tell their community what's going on because of the allegations levied by Rebecca. I think the father has done similar to Emmanuel, just as the 10-week-old. Rod. Past does kind of dictate the future. If he changed his life, he wouldn't have been having any kind of problems in 2021. He wouldn't have had problems in 2024. This guy has been, I don't know when he came to our country. We did learn he's not here properly with paperwork, which was surprising for me. And, he has this lengthy criminal history that involves a lot of violence toward children. That's concerning for me, especially when I see that he had a 7-month-old child and a baby girl. Was that baby girl also abused? What? I can't. We're just gonna, let's just finish this up, and then this is the last of, I think we're at the end of this anyways, because it's done. So that was really all I have for this show today, related to Emmanuel and the story related to Rebecca and Jake Haro, what they're stating. It's not true. So what you can't see is I redid the let me clear this. Hold on, let me find out where you are. There you are. Let me take this off. Okay. As you see down here at the bottom, it says 1. Law enforcement found inconsistent statements, and when confronted, Rebecca lawyered up and stopped cooperating. 2. There were no witnesses to the abduction. 3. Emmanuel's scent was never found at Big 5. 4. Rebecca refused to take a polygraph test. 5. Jake has intentional child cruelty conviction. And 6. LE is focusing on the child's house and the surrounding areas. So that's telling us that they do not believe that this child has been abducted, and they believe that this child was harmed at that home, and they're focusing on the parents. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Lisa donated a super chat. Thank you. Where is that? Hold on. Let me go down there to it. There it is. Families are sticking together like feet in socks. But I really think the strategy for law enforcement in this needs to be, coming from a place of concern for her health and well-being. And I think that they need to start focusing on the mom. The mom's going to be the weakest link. She really is. She's scared. She doesn't know what to do. She knows what is going on is wrong. She's with this abusive man that she most likely watched take her son out. And I think they need to play in her legitimate fears. And I think they need to let her know if she comes clean and tells them the truth, that they will go to bat for her to minimize anything, for her, because I truly believe she's going to be the one. And if anybody, and I know you guys don't agree with this, I get it, but if anybody deserves to have some type of leniency, it should be the battered wife. I don't condone anything that she has done, but I also know that battered wives and battered women feel trapped, they feel hopeless, they feel helpless, and when you have a man in your ear telling you you're just as culpable as he is, it scares you. It terrifies you. This woman is terrified, and I feel like if law enforcement just coddled that fear she has and puts a path before her that gives her a way out, she will take it and we can close this case. I truly believe that. I only time will tell. What is this? Rest in peace. Was Devlin found? Sorry, they're not going to talk about the investigation to the public. I swear something is up. Did they... Hold on. I don't advocate for the family member, just Devlin. Well, I knew that, but I thought, because you advocated for the family, you obviously found out something that has changed your opinion. I thought that was a point to be brought up. Did they find Devlin? Because how do you know he hit her? She could have gotten in a fight with another man. Yeah, that chances of that happening are literally, what are the statistical in the bushes? I mean, we have to look at statistics here. What are the statistical anomalies that she was hit by another man, one of his mistress had a car accident? All those things would have been well known. And most women that are abused typically don't even look at other men because they're so scared they're going to get beat. So, I mean, it's something we can look at, no doubt. It's definitely a perspective, but I don't think, why would she lie about this if she had a car accident? It doesn't make sense. We have to use some, apply some common sense and some problem solving skills to that. And yeah, it's a possibility, but just because it's a possibility doesn't equate to probability or factual facts. I thought they did. I'm sorry if I'm mistaken. Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it is. I thought they found. Okay. Yeah. I think they will. There's something not right there. This story from the family, the brother, this is another person that has some, that's on the spectrum, that the story defies logic. They say that he came back from a store or laundromat or wherever he was, and he came back to the house and then just gets a wild hair up his butt and tells everybody he's going to Arizona. How is he planning on getting there? He has no job. He has no money. He has no car, and allegedly, if I'm not mistaken, maybe if I remember correctly, he might have been without shoes himself, which again doesn't make sense. But that I can't be 100% on. So even if he did have shoes, I mean, that's a long walk, and I'm certain that they would have found him on his walk to Arizona. The whole story doesn't make sense to me. It really didn't make sense to me out the gate, So, she was 15 years with her ex. The love of a child is powerful. It is. And that's why I'm pleading with Rebecca on her mother, her motherness. Thank you, Cynthia. Kids get hurt. There's no excuse, no pity for mom. Exactly. I agree. There's no pity for mom. But, we're also trying to find a 7-month-old baby. And sometimes you just gotta play the game. And I'm just saying, for the sake of this child, law enforcement might need to start playing the game. Who do we want behind bars? The violent monster or the abused woman that stood by that allowed this violent monster to do it. We want both of them in jail. But if we had to choose, you know, make a choice between one or the other to make sure that a child had some dignity and was laid to rest in peace, you know, I'm willing to make a deal. And I want the violent offender behind bars. You know, do I think things need to happen to the mother? Of course I do. But in light of trying to find a 7-month-old baby, I think law enforcement needs to play ball. I think they need to rattle her cage. She's going to be the weakest link. The dude has way too much to lose. He's going to fight tooth and nail. He's going to be strong. You know, he's not going to break. This woman is the abused woman. This woman, if you can convince her and scare the crap out of her, she will break. I truly believe that. So I would, I'm sorry. I would focus on the woman. Not that I excuse her by any stretch. You guys know how I feel. I mean, this is a child. I have no pity for any parent when it comes to children, period. That's just my blood. She could very well be a child abuser too. It seems like, it's possible, but I don't believe it. These are all assumptive facts. There is no evidence to support she's the abuser. There's overwhelming evidence to support Jake is the abuser. Yeah, that's a good point too, M. Blanc. She's taught by her mother. She won't break. Her mother is tough as nails. Her mom doesn't seem like she's a very good mother, okay? She's got multiple children, like literally 3 children. And all 3 of her children, one's already in jail for murder. The other one threatened jurors and other people for the brother that's in jail for murder. And then we have the same mother coming out here saying her baby daughter is not as messed up as her other 2 sons. The mom, parents don't understand. Your parenting really defines who your child is going to be in the long run. And this is the hardest thing for parents to understand, is that your parenting and how you parent your child could ultimately affect their adult upbringing. And when you're lax and you don't hold your children accountable, and your children don't know how to deal with rejection, and every time your child feels jaded, you're in people's faces demanding that your child be, even though they didn't earn it, those are the types of things that screw children up in the long run. When they become adults, they have no idea how to deal with rejection. They have no idea how to deal with breakups. They only know if they scream loud enough or force their way loud enough, they're going to get what they want. And that is horrible. That's horrible parenting. I'm positive she was Katie's acting coach. Oh, good gracious. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Yes. I'm sure Jake was abused as a child. I'm sure he was. It sounds like both sides of the family have major violence in them. And I really do believe this is just a repetitive cycle that just keeps reinventing itself from generation to generation because nobody's breaking that cycle. So once you have a cycle of abuse and your family is accustomed to the cycle of abuse, all the people are abusive. And they don't think it's abusive because that's the way their minds are so warped because that's how they were raised. That's why it's so hard to have people that don't live in a civilized country and to live in a civilized, they're out of place. People that have never lived in a civilized country cannot, it's hard for them to adjust to a civilized country because they've been at war with everybody for so many years. All they know is to take. If they want it, they take it. Jaden's mom is hardcore, more than Rebecca, in my opinion. Jaden's mom broke and confessed. Hopefully Rebecca will too. I think Rebecca's going to be there. I think she's going to be the weakest link for law enforcement. I really do. I think she's it for a number of reasons. Who's civilized? Well, we know you're not. Well, we know you're not. Thank you, Sonia. Guys, we're wrapping up the show, so if you haven't already given a thumbs up to this show, please go out there and show Bullhorn Betty some love. I'm just trying to bring some information here to you guys, advocate for this child. We try to be as accurate as possible. We're at the mercy of other people's reporting on here, so please be cognizant of that when we do report things like the mainstream media gal saying that they are digging the yard. We don't know if they just had an isolated dig or if it truly was a dig, but there are people out there that saying there is nothing going on at the property right now, so that is what we are reporting. Few things that you guys needed to take away here is mom's eye, black eye, came a long time before this reporting of this child, all the way back to August 1st. She's lawyered up, she's failed to do a polygraph test, and they physically went into their iCloud and deleted all of the videos related to their surveillance around the home. So we do have a lot of similarities in cases like Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, Lily and Jack Sullivan's case, but this does stand on its own merits and has a lot of differences to it. The mother is screaming abduction. She's screaming that she was attacked, yet there is no evidence of this attack. There's no scent from the attacker or her own child out at the scene. So these are problematic issues for us. So if you guys have any information that you would like to share to me, most of this show came from audience members just like you sharing with me these clips that we've discussed. So if you have any information that you would like to see on the Bullhorn Betty channel, please don't forget to send that to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. We're here to advocate for these cases and provide you guys the most up-to-date information. If we have it wrong, please make sure you get me the right information, and I would greatly appreciate it. The true crime community appreciates it. Right now, we have a 7-month-old child that is missing out there in Yucaipa, California, and anybody that is out there that can help or aid or has seen these folks or knows these folks, please reach out to the local law enforcement out there and tell them everything you know. If you are showing up on somebody's YouTube channel or Facebook or TikTok and you have not reached out to law enforcement yet, you are wrong. You are wrong. You need to be calling law enforcement before you ever go to any place on social media and report your information. There's a 7-month-old child out there. This is not a game. This is not for clicks and views. And I pray to God, everybody, if you have information, is releasing that information to law enforcement before it ever makes its debut on social media. God bless each and every one of you, and we will see you soon. I hope you enjoyed the show. And we had very little issues with it. But before we go, since we just put this up, we're going to take a few moments for our whack-a-troll.
Sneaky gremlins love to fight, but we're here to set it right. Jump and duck, let's take a shot, turning trolls into what they're not. Whack a troll, whack a troll. Let 'em tumble, let 'em roll. Swing your spatula or a stick. Whack 'em fast, whack 'em quick.
All right, guys, that is the beep. You guys are all free to go enjoy your Tuesday. We'll see you back later today. God bless.